Hello and welcome back to the Lit Cave. This is Brian, and I'm here today to film a tag called the Christmas Carol Book Tag. The Christmas Carol Book Tag was created by Samantha from Novels and Nonsense, and I just can't help myself because I love Christmas so much. I know it's closer to Thanksgiving, but for me they're kind of all linked together, just one great season of joy and happiness and merriment. And so I wanted to do this tag, and I thought it was great. So it's kind of a long tag, so let's just jump right in. So the first one is Deck the Halls, show some of your favorite book covers. So for me, I'm thinking of Aristotle and Dante, Discover the Secrets of the Universe. I love the pickup truck in the lower corner, the sky, all the print around it, and the coloring. Beautiful, beautiful book cover. The next one that I think of, and although this is kind of a simple book cover, I think of my copy of The Lord of the Rings. This is a complete Lord of the Rings. It's leather bound, very, very, well actually it's hardback, but it's very beautiful, comes with a slip cover, and just a really nice book. One of my favorite books that I own. Simple but beautiful. And the third thing that comes to mind is my copy of The Chronicles of Narnia. This is one of the Barnes & Noble leather-bound classics. It's just like $20 or $25 and contains all 7 of the Chronicles. Just a really beautiful cover all the way around. Really beautiful book. And actually, I'm going to use this book for the next carol, which is Let It Snow, a book that takes place in a wintry land, or a book that takes place in the winter. So I'm thinking of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, most people's first foray into Narnia, set during a never-ending winter. Well, it's always winter, but never Christmas. And then we see some change as Aslan returns. So one of my favorite childhood books, and beautiful and set during winter. So, all right, the third is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, a book where the main character is something of a misfit. And so I thought of something a little different than you might think of. The Night Thoreau Spent in Jail, which is a play about, the night Thoreau spent in jail. And Thoreau was a little bit of a misfit. The whole reason he spent the night in jail is because he refused to pay his taxes. He felt like the government didn't have the right to tell him what to do. Some beautiful, beautiful lines in this play. Read it in high school and adored it. So this is, Thoreau was definitely a misfit for his time. Okay, the next one is Holly Jolly Christmas, a book that makes you happy. And I had to think, when I think of a book that makes me happy, this one comes to mind. The Complete Frank Miller Batman. This is a leather-bound book. And I got this book in 1989 from my mom and dad, right before the 89 Batman came out with Michael Keaton. And it's a beautiful, beautiful book. It's got Batman Year One and The Dark Knight Returns and another story, Wanted Santa Claus Dead or Alive. And I love this book so much so that when mine fell apart from use, I bought a new one. And I was so excited because when I bought it, I opened it up. It still smelled like the other one, that wonderful leather-bound smell. So this is one of my favorite books that I own. I don't read it as often as I should. I should probably pick it up and read it during my Christmas break. There's also apparently like a complete, or the best stories of the Joker. That's a purple leather-bound book, also from Longmeadow Press. And I'd love to get that, but I think the cheapest I've been able to find it for is $75. So may have to hold off for a while. The Christmas Song, which Samantha reminds us in her video that that's the chestnuts roasting on an open fire song. And that's your favorite Christmas story. And there's a lot of great books set in Christmas, but I want to always reread this one, this is Let It Snow by John Green, Maureen Johnson, and Lauren Miracle. They each wrote a short story, but their short stories intertwine to kind of tell one great story. And just a really beautiful, warm, happy holiday tale with a lot of humor too. So I try to reread this every Christmas. It's on my December TBR this year again, so this is probably my favorite Christmas story. All right, let's see. The next one is Frosty the Snowman, a book with a character that is cold and hard on the outside, but is really a kind, warm person. And I kind of thought of someone different for this one. I thought of, from Robert Galbraith's The Cuckoo's Calling and The Silkworm, which Robert Galbraith is also J.K. Rowling. I thought of Cormoran Strike. He's a detective. He's had a hard life. He's, an ex-military. He's missing a leg. And he's gained a lot of weight and just kind of down on his luck and not necessarily the nicest person, but you come to find he's a pretty warm, caring person. He's just trying to get his pride back, at least in this book. I've not read The Silkworm yet. That one's still on my November TBR. I'm hoping to get to it very soon, but I think that he's the perfect Frosty the Snowman. Okay, the next one is Up on the Housetop, a book that you shout from the rooftops that you love, one of your favorite books. So for me, this is one of the books in here. This is a bind-up of 3 of Donald Miller's books. One of them is Through Painted Deserts, which is a memoir. Another one is, I forget, Searching for God Knows What. I couldn't remember for a moment. But the one that's most well known is the one that's written in big words is Blue Like Jazz. Blue Like Jazz is sort of a combination of memoir and essays by Donald Miller, and it's a book that absolutely changed my life, changed my perspective on my faith, my Christianity, and I believe made me a better person. Hopefully other people believe I'm a better person than I used to be. But this book will always, always, always be one of my favorite books, if not my favorite book of all time. It's not fiction, and I do love fiction so much, but I just don't know of another book that's changed me as much as this book has. The next book is Santa Claus is Coming to Town, a character that looks after another character or characters. And this one is going to be 2 characters, but I thought of the Infernal Devices trilogy, and I'm thinking of Jim Carstairs and Will Herondale. Those 2 guys look after each other with an intensity that is so beautiful for best friends to have. And they look after Tessa as well with that same level of intensity. And I think it's why the Infernal Devices series, I like it even more than the Mortal Instruments series, just because of that beautiful, intense, deep friendship that is, there's nothing like it. Definitely characters that look out for each other. Okay, the next one is The Holly and the Ivy, show a green and a red book, or a book with green and red in the cover. So I'm going with the Annotated Hobbit for green and Catching Fire for red. So that's all there is to that. And the next one is Silent Night, your favorite classic book. Okay, this one is very easy. That is To Kill a Mockingbird. I love this book so much. It's one of my, it's probably my favorite book that I read at any point in school, and I'm lucky enough to get to teach it now as a 9th grade teacher. And I hope that I get to continue teaching it. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful story and very challenging, still contemporary and meaningful, but just such an awesome story. So To Kill a Mockingbird is one of my favorites. And I have to say, I think too that the movie version with Gregory Peck still holds up as well. The next one is Baby It's Cold Outside. It's your favorite romantic couple or romantic book. And I gotta say, Baby It's Cold Outside is my favorite Christmas song by far. Ever since Zooey Deschanel sang it, I have downloaded about 1 million different versions of that song, and they rarely disappoint. So definitely a favorite song. And the book I chose was Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell. This is a really beautiful romantic relationship. These characters go through a lot to find and re-find one another, and they love each other through the murkiness and mire of some bad situations. So I really love this romantic couple. And the last thing it asks is, the most wonderful time of the year, what's your favorite holiday tradition? And I think that everyone just wants to say all their holiday traditions are their favorites. But for me, it's all about just spending time together with family. And this year, I have a son who will be turning, he'll be just about 2 at Christmas. He'll be 23 months at Christmas. And so I think it's going to be even better than it's ever been. And I'm so excited about it. One thing we do is that my family, my mom, my sisters, and their husbands, and my oldest sister has 2 kids. We go out to the downtown area of a local city, and we watch. There's this lights display with a tree that sings and all that kind of stuff, and it's just a lot of fun. And go out there and freeze our bums off while we watch the tree sing, and that's definitely a favorite holiday tradition to be together. So I hope that if you have some favorite Christmas traditions, you'll don your gay apparel, Christmassy gear. This is my Christmas sweater, and it's full of nerdiness, just like me. And you'll make a video telling me what your favorites are as well. I do want to take just a second here at the end of the video, although this has nothing to do with the Christmas Carol book tag, and I want to say that today is National Adoption Day. And we were lucky enough to adopt my son, to foster and adopt my son, and he has been the biggest blessing in my entire life. So I'm so thankful for the opportunity that adoption affords. And I just want to encourage you to just seek your hearts and see if adoption might be something that you too would be willing to do. To open your heart up to a child that needs to be loved and cared for, and to bring them into your home. I can say my son, his name is Jeremiah, and he's the biggest blessing of my life. Him and my wife, if I didn't have my wife Michelle and my son Jeremiah, I don't know what I'd do. So I'm so thankful for them. So please, if you're interested, if you're questioning, you can ask me questions in the comments section below, and I'll be happy to try and respond to them if I can. But if you're interested to opening up your heart to adopting a child, there's so many children here in the United States and internationally that could use a loving home. So please consider that, especially as we're entering into the holiday season. Think about what a gift it could be to someone. All right, well, thanks so much for stopping and listening to my video and my little soapbox there at the end. Until the next video, we'll see you. Same lit time, same lit channel.